Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first ever 21-minute meetup. This series is all about getting to know the new Century 21 offices and franchisees from across the country, and even getting some good ideas that you can incorporate into your own brokerage. We are so excited to kick off this series with Julie Roberts and Tasha Carriere, the owners of the new Century 21 Integrity Brokerage in Sudbury, Ontario. Now, before we get into this really fast-paced 21-minute series, I do want to let you know that we will be saving time for questions at the end. So pop them into the chat. We will pop back on at the end to ask them to Tasha and Julie. But now we will go ahead. I will pass it off to our host, Gary. And Gary, your 21 minutes starts now.
Oh my goodness, I feel the pressure is ticking there. Well, that's great. Thanks, Jocelyn. Really appreciate it. It's great to see you, ladies. Tasha, Julie, hope you're doing well, and hope things are good in Sudbury. We're having some nice weather in Ontario, so we'll relish that. As for our folks from across the country, maybe they might not be experiencing the same nice weather that we have.
To enjoy every minute of it right now.
Exactly. Well, that's great. And, I was thinking back, the first time that I ever actually chatted with you ladies was about October 2021. And so here we are, almost a good 6 months, well, a good 6 months past that plus. And we're excited to have you on our first ever 21-minute meetup. So we really appreciate you joining us for this. So
thank you for having us.
Well, it's our pleasure. So so we're gonna have some fun. We got some good questions. The questions that have come from the audience, I don't know what'll happen there, but we'll see. But let's start off with a nice pace with kind of tell us, let's get to know you a little bit. So tell us a little bit about kind of yourselves personally, a little bit your community involvement and whatnot, and whoever wants to kick us off, go ahead. That'd be great.
Julie, Did you want to go ahead?
Sure, I'll go ahead. So I was born and raised in Sudbury. Obviously, growing up in Northern Ontario, I played a lot of hockey. Played competitive hockey, managed to get a scholarship where I played Division I in the States. So I attended the University of Findlay in Ohio, where I majored in hospitality management. So early on, I was very passionate about working with people, providing customer service, and just basically helping people. Graduated in 2005, lived in Hilton Head Island for a little bit, worked in the service industry, ended up moving overseas to Slovakia to go play hockey, and ended up finally coming back to Sudbury to be closer to family, where I started my career in real estate probably 3 to 4 years later. So I started actually as a receptionist and worked pretty much every role in a brokerage. So deal secretary, controller, office manager, finally moving up to broker of record in 2018. So really my strengths are on the day-to-day running of a brokerage. And in terms of community involvement, I still play hockey. I've been the president of the Women's Hockey League in Sudbury for the past 11 years. I'm on the board of directors for the Sudbury Real Estate Board. I've been involved in different committees at the board level as well. And now I'm just really looking forward, Tasha and I are really looking forward to being part of, Easter Seals and being more involved with the charity. And actually our brokerage is participating to the Golden Heart Challenge starting tomorrow. So we're pretty pumped about that. Yeah, so we're excited. And so we're looking forward to being more involved with the charity.
Well, that's great. There's I think there's always a lot of parallels about your sports background. I think there's so many good parallels between our business and sports, from our coaching, training, everything, I would think so. And competitiveness, right? There's obviously you've obviously played a level of competitive hockey that brings probably that level of competitiveness, Julie. And Tasha, do you want to give us a background for yourself? Tell us a bit about yourself.
So I grew up like Julie. I grew up in a small town just outside of Sudbury. Went away for school and I graduated with a degree in business marketing. So I used that kind of within the brokerage, but also within my real estate business over the years to kind of help my clients buy and sell. and make the best of the market at any given time. Community involvement kind of is vast. So I also sat on the Sudbury Real Estate Board for years, many committees, and worked my way up to president-elect, and had some fun with that. But I also have done some work with the Sunshine Foundation, different community involvements over the years, right? So now we're really focused on that Easter seals and trying to build that up within the office. So.
Excellent. Well, that's great. It's, community involvement is a big thing that I'm hearing from both of you, and many Century 21 brokers are so motivated by what they can do to help in their community. So that's fantastic. That's great of you to embrace the Easter seals culture here at Century 21. That's really exciting. So let's talk a little bit about how that background and yourselves. How did you land and come into real estate? Tell us a bit about how you got started. I don't know who wants to start us off with that one.
So for myself, I actually got into real estate. It's kind of funny. We, myself and my husband, had moved 4 times in 5 years. And so one day he looked at me and he said, well, maybe you should try moving someone else for once. Like, I think you're probably pretty good at it. So
yeah, I'm sure your current broker, your existing agent, wasn't happy with that. It's like you're losing a good client.
Yeah. So that started me on the path to getting my real estate license. I've been licensed about 12 years now. And over the years, I always kind of held that role in the office where people would come and ask me questions, right? I was always kind of just open to helping, even if it meant, kind of giving them ideas. I know it's a pretty competitive environment in a lot of brokerages, but I was always more open to kind of sharing my ideas. And then usually ended up leading to kind of like mentoring or managing the office, things like that. So at our previous brokerage, I was an office manager there and helped with the training and things like that. So, and that's continued to be my primary role here, where my strength is.
Yeah, really good. In real estate, you're right, it is really competitive, but there is a really strong culture of sharing, right, and wanting to help. And I think our colleagues recognize that and seek guidance from those kind of people like yourself, right?
Yeah, and we've really trying to build that in the office, right? That culture of collaboration. Our agents, we've been so blessed with the people that we've brought on thus far. They're just more than willing to share everything that they're doing. I mean, if they get a listing, the entire office can kind of promote it as their own to try and build up their own networks and their own businesses, which is great, right?
Excellent. And Julie, so you did touch on a little bit about you've kind of done everything in real estate.
I have, and it just, I think, happened by fluke. It's not a interesting story like Tasha's. I was sort of in between jobs and just happened to walk in and got hired on a spot. And you know what, almost 12 years later, who would have thought that I would be a brokerage owner? It just, I guess the progression was there with moving up and finally being broker of record and really enjoying trying to guide and help agents be successful in their careers, that it was really just, I guess, a natural progression in purchasing and starting our own brokerage.
Yeah, and I think that, you're kind of segueing nicely, because I wanted to talk a little bit about, whatever motivates anybody to be a real estate broker owner. Sometimes I wondered myself over the years, but I think I'm hearing some of the answers already from you. So it sounds like as far as a mentoring and leadership, those are things that both of you are bringing to the table. So maybe tell me a bit about that and how that's motivated your desire to be the broker owner of your own business.
Julie? Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a natural progression for both of us, right? Like you said, it was just always something that we weren't necessarily opting into. It was just naturally happening within the office, right? And once you kind of get a good understanding of how the brokerage goes, if you're not necessarily in charge, sometimes it can be frustrating, right? So you want to be able to give to the agents the things that you want to give without having any sort of, higher up to tell you that it's not the time or it's not the place or it's not in the budget or, that type of thing. So now we're able to do that. We're actually able to give the agents all these ideas and things that we had over the years that potentially we weren't able to implement in the other place. And we also have more tools, which has been unbelievably helpful. Like I'm floored sometimes at the level of support that we've gotten. And the tools that we have to be able to offer the agents is unbelievable. So.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a big reason. What you touched on, the kind of being autonomy, having some autonomy, and being able to create your own dream, right? Your own entity, and not be really restricted by somebody else's budget, right? So, and you touched on some of our tools. So let's maybe just talk a little bit about that. What when we first met, we first were introduced to each other. What brought you to talk to Century 21? What was on your mind?
Well,
quite a bit at that point. Trying to get a good understanding of what was out there, right? And I think that you were kind of so welcoming and just so full of knowledge. And to be honest, not many people were really upfront about the things that they had and what they had to offer. And, you were just kind of, here, I'm laying it out on the table. If you like it, that's great. And if, it's not good for you, that's okay too. And we really appreciated that because it kind of meshes with the way that we kind of function, right? So, and the tools, once we got to play with them a little bit, I mean, we knew it was going to be absolutely amazing to be able to offer this kind of technology in Sudbury, because I don't think that agents here are really necessarily getting access to it.
Excellent. So let's go into that a little bit about, tying what you're using and what you want to leverage for your business. What's your vision and your goals for the brokerage as you kind of move forward now? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I think our goal for the future is really to grow the office with like-minded realtors who focus on client care and do business with integrity. We're trying to build a team who's open, like Tasha mentioned earlier, to collaboration, cooperation, working together to reach our goals both personally and professionally. And I think even maybe more importantly, we're really trying to help agents find the work-life balance. As we know, it's really easy to get run down and burnt out in this industry. So we're trying to help agents navigate that. And I think over the next few years, some of our goals, we'd like to build a reputation of being Sudbury's brokerage with the best in technology and support for our agents. And some of the things that we're currently doing in trying to reach that is we've enhanced our office with all the tools they need to make professional videos. Tasha is actually in our media room right now. We don't have the green screen open, but we do have the green screen. We have the lighting. We have the tripod. We have all the technology. We have the 3D camera so agents can, sign it out and go take pictures, and any office does the virtual tour for their listings. So we're really trying to promote that. And again, using the tools and technology, because, that is the way of the future. We're always trying to encourage the agents. So currently we do have a contest going on starting tomorrow for the month of June, where agents get a chance to win a credit on their monthly expenses. And what they have to do is post content. Video. So whether it's TikTok, whether it's something on YouTube, whether it's a listing video or communication to their clients, we're really trying to encourage the agents to use the technology that's at their disposal.
Wow. So I hear you're putting some resources out there for agents, talking about video particularly. So you're making that equipment available, so agents don't have to, figure out how to do that on their own, because, real estate people are busy, their time's pulled all over, and you really want them focusing on clients, right? So, and so you're incentivizing them with the contest. Everybody likes a contest. And so tell us a little bit about, so how does the video, how does that work in your office? Like, I'm an agent, how would it benefit my business to be affiliated with you using that kind of system?
Well, you're not having to go out and pay, right, to get these virtual tours done. And then on top of that, the agents all know that they can stop in here at any point and, get themselves all fancied up, and I'll sit and do a business profile of them. I can edit the content, the video for them, send it to them to share to their social media, which is not something that I think any brokerage is kind of taking the time to do. As an agent, I mean, you should be focusing on selling. You should be focused on learning how to download iMovie or how to edit a video content and embed music. Like, that's not something that as an agent I really wanted to focus on, right? So we're trying to support them in learning how to do those things, or at least support them in doing it for them if it's not something they feel like they want to learn. And we're trying to do a few different things along the way, where we've got some staging items that are coming in so that they can come in, sign out staging items to kind of make their listings look a little bit better. They're not having to reach out to a stager for every property, right? Maybe they just need a carpet or a few throw pillows, and we'll be able to provide that to them as well. Just trying to, like Julie said, the work-life balance, right? Why am I focusing on all these little day-to-day mundane tasks when I should be focusing on making connections with the community?
Right, and that can be overwhelming, right? For the realtor, especially somebody who's trying to build their business as a realtor, and then they're seeing, here's your value as a broker owner. So let's talk a little bit about that. I liked how you talked about that, creating work-life balance for your team. So how else do you see your role as a broker in supporting your agents to achieve that balance? How else do you see you doing that?
Listening is big. I think, I think we all understand that working with clients can sometimes, it's their biggest purchase, right? So they're stressed, and it's your job to carry that stress. And sometimes agents will carry it a little bit longer than necessary, or don't know how to phrase something in a way that helps the client understand what it is that they're trying to say. And I think that is probably one of the biggest roles as broker owners, is just helping them navigate those day-to-day conversations so that they can end that conversation and not carry it through home to the family, right, at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's a change, right? I've seen, like in my career, I've seen changes. Now you must be seeing maybe some trends coming across the top of the hill. What do you see, guys, as a trend that's going to really assist brokerages and broker owners in delivering service to their agents? What major trend do you see that you could maybe act on? That
we would provide to them?
Yeah, what do you see changing in the business where there's an opportunity as the broker to step in that space and help agents? Do you see something coming? We talked a little bit about video. I think that's really important. And what do you see? What else do you see coming? Do you see anything else that you're thinking of or got your eye on?
Honestly, I think, like, as a brokerage, I think the major trend that we're seeing is more and more kind of demand for support and service. I think, like, when I look back to when I started, the brokerage was essentially there just to hold your license, and they registered your email address, and you didn't really complain about anything. Like, it was what it was. Where now, I think that there really is a demand that for people to be able to find that work-life balance and look for a brokerage that actually says, okay, you know what, we understand that you can't work every single weekend. As a team, we're going to support each other in that. And as a team, we're going to be able to support each other in having a day off. We'll be able to help each other. We have one agent has the drone. He'll go do your drone videos for you. Don't worry about it. Like, we can support each other through this so that we're not having to overwork ourselves all the time.
Yeah,
and we know that the industry is, it's always changing, it's always evolving, whether it's, new business models popping up or new policies, and it's almost impossible for an individual to stay on top of everything. So as a brokerage, more and more, they're looking for us to provide them with that information and that education on those important changes that are going on out there.
Yeah, so true. And I think you're right on. I think that the industry and business has become very complicated from regulatory standpoints and consumer expectations. And I think really good brokerages like yourselves are going to be able to really leverage that position, right? And grow a very valuable business, right? So we talked a little bit about some tools, Century 21 tools. What Century 21 tool or tech that have you really, do you love the most so far? Like, is there something you go, wow, this is really awesome?
Well, my reaction to that question is not actually an app or a tech. It's literally the entire tech department. So I don't know if we can call Alistair and Amar.
Alistair's head's gonna just.
But I don't know how we would live without them, like, quite frankly.
Oh,
like,
that's great. No,
They've been
that's good.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and so they're there for you, right? So if you got tech issue, and hey, technology is hey, I'm not all up on this. I need help too, and I got to call a help department, and so that's our team there, Alistair. Way to go, Alistair. So good job.
Outside of that, probably like back at you. The agents have loved that.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Julie, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I love the training platforms like the Century, the Century 21 University, Campus 21. I think it's been really nice because coming from another brokerage where we had to rack our brains every week to come up with training topics, there's so much out there. And even if agents maybe can't attend our training, they have access to the platforms 24/7. And doesn't matter if they're a new agent or experienced agent, there is something geared to everybody. So that's been really awesome.
Oh, isn't that great? Well, and that's one of the challenges broker owners talk to me about all the time is being able to find content and present good ideas to their team. And I think what I'm hearing is we have some of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
We have a ton of it, eh? So that's really good. I'm glad to hear that because I know that, but sometimes it's conveying and getting that message to the industry is great. Well, that's great. Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about, you've recently opened a new brokerage, right? And I know you've kind of gotten to fall in love a little bit with the brand because I remember some posts and some things about looking for some really cool shoes. Tell me about the shoes. I want to know about the shoes. Tell me a bit about that. What did you do there?
Okay, so we kind of loved the image of it was a post or a brick or whatever that Century 21 had with the gold shoes. Julie's gonna run and go get hers. Stepping out of the car, and we used that to announce the opening of the brokerage and the change that we were making. We posted to social media. People loved it. They just loved the shoes. We wanted the shoes. And my husband, being the huge supporter that he is, managed to find a company out in New York that created these shoes for us.
Look at that.
And they are actually, I have a link and I posted it to the manager's site and stuff. So if any of the broker owners order them, you can order them. There's a sale link there. So, and they're really cute, right? They're just great. If you're out there in the community, you want to be kind of representing. And we love the rebrand. That was one of the things we absolutely loved. And we want to take advantage of that every step and every opportunity.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant. What a brilliant marketing idea. I love that. I just had to bring that up. Alistair was on me. So there we go. Alistair's got good ideas and tech, right? So there we have it. So I'd like to wrap. I got one question I still want to ask, and that's what's been for brokers who are going to watch, maybe going to open their own business, what's been the most challenging aspect of getting started as a new broker?
I think just like any other business is you're juggling a lot when you first start. You're doing a lot of the work yourself from everything. I mean, from a brokerage perspective, inputting listings and deals, you're doing the bookkeeping, we're, doing marketing, IT support for our agents, cleaning the office. So we're doing it all. So you're juggling quite a bit. I mean, it is rewarding, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it just feels like there's not enough time in a day, really.
Right. And so benefit you did all those things before you even owned your own one, right, Julie? So you kind of knew what you were getting into, right?
Absolutely.
And what would you say to aspiring brokers to handle that? Well, what would you say to them?
Don't be afraid to lean on people, right? So, I mean, I think in the beginning we felt some sort of hesitation about always asking questions, and don't be afraid to lean into it and send an email to like the FSA. Patricia has been amazing. If we have a question, right, we just send it off. There's always an answer. Maybe she doesn't have it, but someone else will respond out of the blue, right? And instead of trying to do it ourselves and figure it out, sometimes there's just not time for that. Sometimes it's just.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're all here for, right? That's why we have a network. That's why we've got our team, and everybody that wants to help out. And so that's great. Now I understand we got a couple questions. Jocelyn's telling me We have a couple questions from the room. So hello, Jocelyn.
Hello, that was amazing. And in 21 minutes, get to
Look at
learn
that.
a lot about you guys. I love those shoes too, by the way. I hope to see them at 1C21.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to maybe get the link on for a conference. Maybe we'll have a whole bunch of people wearing them.
Yes,
That'd be
literally.
awesome.
Yes. So we did have some questions that came up. So from Chioka, we had, what advice would you give someone if they want to start their own brokerage? I know that you kind of touched on that a bit, but any other tips you want to give out?
I don't know what you would say, Julie, but I would say prepare, right? Like just be ready.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I could have done this without Julie. So to me, I'm a big advocate for a partnership because at the end of the day, we both have our strengths and we have our weaknesses, and we're able to kind of play off of those two things together. So I think that would probably be my best piece of advice, is find someone that you trust that is a counterpart to you, right? That will make the spreadsheet and the PowerPoint presentation when you
Yeah, excellent. That's good. Great answer. Yeah, that's for sure. Always look for gaps, right? What could you use in expertise, right, from somebody else? Excellent. Any others, Jocelyn? We had another question.
Yes, we did have one, and I think you touched on it throughout the presentation or throughout this 21 minutes. But why did you change to C21 from your old brokerage? I know that you touched on the tools, you touched on the branding and the support. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think that was most of it. Like we said as well, you know, first impressions go a long ways. And our first impression when we spoke with Gary, you know, let's pump Gary's tires a little bit more today. But honestly, you know, you were so open and honest and very personable versus, you know, maybe other brands that we spoke with that maybe didn't want to give all the information. So we felt a rapport right away with Gary. And again, just the tools, we can't emphasize enough the tools and the different platforms of Century 21 and a global reach. I think it's amazing that Century 21 is in over 80 countries, and you know, the opportunities for networking and building a referral base worldwide is, you know, is amazing.
Excellent.
That global reach actually got one of our agents a listing. She almost lost a listing. And she didn't know. She had switched to us and she didn't know. And her previous brokerage was strictly a Canadian company. And she's like, what do I do? They want me to advertise globally. And I said, you do nothing. It happens naturally. Like, it's not anything for you to worry about. So, you know, sometimes those things make a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, and you know, if we can help any real estate practitioners business in that regard, that's so important, guys. It really has been great spending a little time with you to chat here. We really appreciate you participating. I think this is just a great opportunity to catch up. And Jocelyn, anything else, or do you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, no, that is it on the questions. People are saying though that heels need to be the next shoe. So
I'll stay away from that.
Yeah,
that
last shoe, that's kind of where the joke came from. So heels were mandatory.
So maybe you can drop that gauntlet down for conference. Whoever shows up with the nicest C21 heels, and we're gonna
yes. I love that. Well,
great,
awesome.
guys.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Awesome.
Really
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
it. Yeah, great to see you. I hope to see you soon in person. And Jocelyn, thanks so much for organizing everything.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you,
Have a great day.
Jocelyn.
Yep.
Bye.